Scott and Mitch, let's talk about, you've talked about big data, you've talked about market disruptors, you talked about minimizing risk potentially for lessors and banks in this industry as well as dealers. Where are you going? Where is Sandhills going over the next 3 years? What do you see changing? What's the natural progression? You also got to deal with inflation. We heard from Peter Zion that he's predicting between 9 and 15% inflation year over year for the next 5 years, which sounds crazy. But talk to us about where you're going for the next 3 years.
The next 3 years is going to be revolutionary for the market. We're in some unique times today, as you mentioned, with inflation and different things in the marketplace. There's a lot of supply chain issues that are still a factor today. A lot of dealerships are on OEMs, or excuse me, and OEMs are on allocations. And with that said, it creates a unique marketplace that really inserts big data into the industry that is going to be necessary to understand how the market is moving out there. It's not a consistent supply or a consistent demand, and those are the things that really change it. Now, in terms of the finance sector out there, what we want to do is apply a lot of the intelligence that we've given to our dealerships out there and apply that into the finance sector. And in the next 3 years, I would hope that to see a lot more finance companies using things like our market reports, our value insight portal that's powered by Fleet Evaluator, and then all the way through like our remarketing side of the tools from our using the value then to fetch a lot higher value because you can get near a retail value. You can work with with our partners and such to get those numbers out there. We can pass a asset back to a dealer network. As I mentioned in a previous segment, we work with 98% of franchise dealers out there across all markets. So it's very unique. If you have a Kenworth truck, why not offer that back to a Kenworth dealer who knows that truck and has the opportunity to sell that in a wholesale network and make it easier. And that, by the way, would be a much higher number than an auction value in a lot of cases. And finally, if it comes to a liquidation side of it, to where we need to force the liquidation on that, we would have the auction platform that all kind of works in a consistent process flow.
Yeah, it's still the auction it still takes it through that retail wholesale auction kind of cascade. It just does it in a very quicker time frame.
Do you think you will be able to offer over the next 3 years, maybe you're already offering it, if a lessor comes to you and gives you their entire portfolio, that you could take a look at the entire portfolio and come up with a current valuation for the entire portfolio, even drill down to each unit, each lease? Is that something that you'll be able to do in the future, or you're doing it today, or what?
It's something we're actively doing today with quite a few of the leasing companies out there. We can take an import, we can get that portfolio in there, and literally give them immediate access to everything we discussed on real-time values.
We also have connections into a lot of telematics companies. So anything that would have telematics on it, it can flow into our value insight portal, and that information would come in and insert in real-time hours or miles, location of the asset, and the communication with many of the leading telematics providers gives us real-time access to have that information not come in through an import, but come in through a connection with the telematics companies.
And so, should we expect over the next 3 years greater use of artificial intelligence? What do you think? Where do you think you're going? You know your roadmap better than we do.
I mean, there's a lot of risk out there, especially today in some tumultuous times in the market. So I would say that our goal is to help them mitigate the risk that they are currently dealing with today, have access to better data and cleaner data that can really get them sharper on their prices out there. But that's the first part of all of this. Whether it's on the origination or midway through the loan or at the end of lease. But at the end of the day, there's the remarketing solutions that most finance companies have today is strictly going to auction, and there's a lot of money to be made up on the front end side of that. And Mitch in particular works with a lot of partners of ours that have yards across the country where leases come back. They can park the units there. They can de-identify those units. make any repairs to them, get them ready for resale. And we're trying to change the mindset that that auction isn't the only solution out there. It is a solution. It's a valid solution in some cases, and valid for quick turnarounds out there. But certainly, if you build in a little bit more time and allow yourself to remarket it to our retail group, that's a bigger piece. So not a lot of people in the industry know that, but when it comes to the auction market out there, it's about 10% of the market is all. 90% of the transactions happen on the front end side. So I guess our thinking is that why not have the finance companies out here, push those residuals a little bit, be more competitive, and also avert the risk at the same time.
So Scott, you were smiling there initially. Why were you smiling?
It's one of those things where we look at some of the issues, and when you really know what's happening in that finance world out there, and you start to see it, Mitch and I, when we go to some of these shows and we see what's going on in the finance sector out there, it's like we have a little secret. And the secret is that we can make those companies so much more stronger. And when we get one, it's a big high five between Mitch and I and Sandhills as a whole, to identify that this customer does not know what's going to happen to his in his portfolio right now. That portfolio, we can bring so much more money on the front end. And really that's a reason for everybody to smile, because at the end of the day, those values that we can get take a lot of risk off and make a lot of finance companies healthier. And at the same time, create a lot better rates, payments for our customers and consumers out there.
Obviously I've been a lessor and on the lending side for quite a long time. And, when we first started talking, I found that this is all really new to me, which I thought I knew just about everything there was to go on in our industry. And, it's like drinking through a fire hose when I started talking to Mitch. And you can really do this, you can really do that. But I think, yeah, this is going to be incredibly valuable and interesting to our industry, and which is why I wanted to have you all on, because I try to cover what's new, what's changing, and this is what's new, this is what's changing, even though it's old, and what you've done with old data to make it new data. So thank you so much for explaining that. And we'll go ahead and end this section right now, and we're going to kind of do a little closing and talk a little bit more about how you can help lessors, equipment leasing companies, both independents and bank owned, whether it's the asset management department, whether it's the sales department on the front end or the credit department. Okay?